At the beginning of my art journey, I was basically copying every single piece of art that I could find, hoping this way to be able to create my own characters from imagination really quickly. I was so wrong. And once I took a step back and started to study the real figure drawing fundamentals, I actually got closer to my goal. So in this video I'm going to break down the 3 stages of my art growth, hoping to help you avoid my same mistakes and get wherever you wanna go quicker. The first stage of my art journey was what I call the hobby stage. At this time I was in high school, wanting to become an artist so bad and actually picking up the pencil again after years of not drawing. The first time actually since I was a kid drawing Dragon Ball stuff. And I started from the most obvious place, I'm sure many do the same, copying from what I was into, manga and anime. And I was so naive that I kept repeating myself, I am going to be able to create my own comic in no time if I keep doing this. And even if my art, my copies were fine, were okay, I wasn't realizing a key thing, that I was just a hobbyist. I was just entertaining myself, learning basically nothing, and I finally understood that when I tried to create my own characters. And I had no idea where to start, and I made the same mistake with portraits. I thought that by copying famous faces and perfectly rendering them, I would finally be able to create my own faces, from imagination. Wrong, once again. The truth is that copying led me to nothing. Sure, I had some cool pieces that I could impress my friends and my followers with. And sure, it was definitely better than doing nothing. I was still making art at the end of the day, but I felt so far away from my goal. The goal of expressing myself, of leaving my own mark. And by the way, if you like doing this, if you like to simply copy some pieces from your favorite artist, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I still do it sometimes. But I always try to remind myself to treat it just as a hobby. Art is supposed to be fun, and if you have fun doing it, just do it. But if your goal is to create your own characters, your own comics, your own animations, you have to take a step forward. And I honestly thought that I did that once I entered the second phase of my art journey. I decided to call it the brainless anatomy stage. I went buying an anatomy book, a random one from a local store, specifically this one, which is a great book by the way, and I'm not blaming the author by any means. And I started to copy in great detail all this advanced anatomical stuff. Pages over pages of this, hoping to internalize all this information. But once again, I was wrong. It was definitely a step forward compared to the hobby stage, but definitely not enough. Because I was doing it passively. I wasn't practicing seriously, I wasn't recalling what I learned. Once again, I was still entertaining myself. And once I tried to apply this anatomical knowledge to my own characters to create them, I felt like I was back at square one once again. The only good thing, honestly, is that at this point an idea started to form in my mind. The idea that I should have gone deeper. So here comes the third phase, the slow realization. I finally started to ask myself the right questions. Yeah, but what's underneath all these muscles? What is the structure that holds up the whole human body? But I started doing the wrong thing once again. Because I started copying all these diagrams and schemes that you find in some art books that never really go into the art of the fundamentals. They just present the information in a dogmatic way almost. I have learned mechanically the proportion that a body should have, the infamous 8 heads, the length of the various parts, each divided by a ball to indicate the joint. Spoiler, there are multiple types of joint in a body, and it's not always the best thing to simplify them simply with a circle. These books, these art books are not the best study material in my opinion, because they just scratch the surface. As a result of that, yes, I was finally able to start creating my own figures. But they were always stiff, always in the same standing pose. After this stage, I finally started doing a serious research about the figure drawing fundamentals. about what made those initial drawings that I copied great. I started learning about gesture drawing, the bean method, mannequinization, landmarks, and so on, to finally be able to break down the figure and to build it step by step from the ground. And more importantly, I started using real life not only as a reference, but also as a study material. So the key takeaway from this video is don't skip the basics. Too many of us want to skip ahead to the end result. And I understand that, I was guilty of that myself. We tend to underestimate these fundamentals, in my opinion, just because they don't look good. And I get that. I mean, gesture drawing looks weird, and what the hell is the bean supposed to be anyway? But only this way we will understand what's under the skin of our figure. Think about copying a finished piece from another artist, like parachuting on the top of the Mount Everest. Yes, you reach your destination, but what's the point? You're going to freeze and die. If instead we are going to practice from zero and step by step climb that mountain, your success will be real, and after that you will be able to climb many other mountains. I don't even know if this metaphor makes sense, but the point is, by taking a few steps back, I was able to progress in my art journey and get closer to my goal. I really hope this can help you in some way, but if you need even more help, I recently created a Discord community specifically centered around these fundamentals, specifically around gesture drawing. So if you want to join, you're more than welcome. The link is in the first line of the description. And I will see you on my next step.